Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be discussing object-oriented programming, also known as OOP. OOP is a powerful tool that helps us as software engineers to write a cleaner, more organized code. Now imagine this. Think about Legos, for example. Each Lego brick is like a tiny reusable building block. You can put these bricks together to create all sorts of things like car, house, even favorite characters in movies. So in OOP, we create our own building blocks called classes. Now, what is a class? A class is a blueprint for creating objects. They define the attribute, which are the information, and method, which are the functions that object of that class will have. So to understand the attribute, what I mean by attribute and method, think of how the Legos look like and how to put them together. For me to now demonstrate this, I'll be explaining each of these concepts as we code along. So we're going to build a banking app and to demonstrate this. So to demonstrate how OOP works in Python, and this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to create two classes. I'm going to create account class and a bank class. Then I'll demonstrate this. Alright, so let's go. So for us to create a class, we go first with a class keyword. Okay, so we can do something like this. So we can say class, then followed by what we want to create. Okay, so we can say class, then account, as account. Then the next thing we're going to do is what is the initialize. We need to initialize our class with some of the what attributes, and to initialize we need what we call what constructor. So the constructor initialize our class with what attributes. Okay, so we can do something like this. We can now call, so the constructor is a special method in Python. Okay, so do init. Okay, now this is our constructor. So inside our constructor we need to define our attributes. Okay, now the self here is not a keyword, it's a convention that every method that you create in Python, okay, must have the self keyword. So it's a reference. You are using it to reference to each of the attributes that you're going to have here. Every account has a name, it has number, it has balance. So let's go. So we can say name, call it name, so call it name, account, that's the name of the account. Okay, or I can do something like this. This is the underscore name, which is account name. We now say account number, then we now say account balance. All right, now we now have what the information about our class. Okay, and that is what we call attributes. So these are the attributes of our class. The next one we're going to look at, we're now going to reference each of these. So we create a variable and reference them. So without that we will not be able to have access to each of these. Okay, so do self dot and account name, which should be equal to what? Equal to account name. Same thing we do self dot account number. Same thing we're going to do for balance. So to self dot balance account balance. All right, so we have now defined our constructor for the account class. Now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to define a method. Okay, so we're going to have the method that deposits account into the class and the method that we draw. All right, so let's do that. So we can do def. So the def keyword is used as a function, but in Python function is a method. In this case, so say def, then the deposit, which is our method name, and inside our method we're going to pass in the self. Now anytime a user is going to deposit money, there has to be a question of how much do you want to deposit. So we'll now specify the amount as a parameter. Now then we now need a logic, okay, that that is going to add the amount into our balance whenever this method is called. All right, so whenever the deposit method is called, we need a kind of logic that add whatever the user is adding, the amount the user is adding to our account balance. So let's see that. So we can do self dot account balance. So we now say plus equal to what amount. Okay, so what we are saying in this line of code is any amount the user enter, just add it to this balance. Okay, that's what we are saying in this line. Then we need, now that we have been able to add amount to balance, we need to print to the user what's happening. Okay, so we're going to print the user the amount that was deposited, who deposited, and the current balance. So we now say print. So format our print out. Okay, we format our print out and we say curly braces. So call the account name, which will tell us the name of the person that deposited. So see account underscore what? Oh, sorry, we need a self. If not, we can't have access to it. So see self dot account name. Then we'll not say deposited. Then we'll specify the amount that was deposited by the person. We'll say self dot what? Okay, so yeah, the amount is a local variable here. Okay, it's a parameter here. So I can't come here and use self again. All right, so I'll just call it directly. Okay, so I'll do amount. Then I'll say current balance. Current balance should be what? Then I'll specify the curly braces and say self dot what. So with this, I'm able to print out to the user whenever there's a deposit in the account. Now let's move further. So now we now have an account class and we have what? A deposit method. Now let's create a withdrawal method. So we can create a withdrawal method by using the def keyword again. We say def withdraw. Okay, withdraw. Then it takes parameter. Now again, when a user wants to withdraw, he needs to specify the amount he or she is withdrawing from the account, right? Okay, so we can now say withdraw. So we now say self, and then we specify the amount the user gets to. We ask the user to specify the amount. Now we need to specify a condition that if what he wants to withdraw is greater than the current balance, he should print there's no money. It doesn't have enough balance. But if it is equal to or greater than what he's asking for, then he should be able to withdraw. So how do you do that? We'll say if self dot balance is greater than or equal to what the amount he wants to withdraw, then you should tell the user that what? You should tell the user the who and the amount that is withdrawn. So we come here and do something like this. We now say okay, so we need to minus. So we can say self dot balance. Tell the user that okay, what you are withdrawing, this is a person that withdraw and the amount the person withdraw and the correct balance. But the moment the amount is not equal to what he has there, so we now have the else clause here. So say else. Tell the user you don't have enough balance to print, and if you tell the user that okay, what you are withdrawing and who is withdrawing. So we now see the name of the person that is withdrawing. So say self dot name, account name. We now say withdrew what? Withdrew the amount the person withdrew. So we say amount. We can say self dot balance, self dot account balance, all right. So this way, whenever the amount the user wants to withdraw is greater than or equal to the current balance is the current balance, you don't have enough money. Okay, so that is it. So we have been able to create an account class with what? With two methods: the method that deposits and the method that withdraw. So this is it about the account class. Now can I go ahead and create an object of this account class? How can we do that? So come down here. Now what is an object that I said? An object is a copy of the class with the actual value. Okay, so it is an instance of a class. So whenever this is a template of an account class, this is a template, this is a blueprint. Okay, so and because it's a blueprint, it cannot work unless we create an object out of it. So even when we run, nothing is going to get printed for us. Okay, nothing, we are not going to get anything. Okay, because if this account must work, then we must create an object. Let's create an object of our class, for example. So here we're going to say equal to account1 equal to then account, then the account takes parameter. So the first parameter is what? The account name, so we say John. Then the second one is what? Account number, so we say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Then the next one is the balance. In this case, we'll now say 450,000 naira. Okay, 450. Okay, so we have been able to create an object of an account class. Okay, and this is the object. All right, so because it's a variable, we are assigning our account account class. Okay, so this becomes our object. Okay, so this becomes our account object. So if we print this, we are going to have a memory address, which is this. Okay, so we're going to have a memory address because we do not have a toString method that return the string value of our object of our class. All right, so for us to now do that, we need to now create a toString method. So now go and create a toString method this way. This is how to create a toString method. So say dev, and then we say str. Okay, so this is how to create a toString method. It does not take parameter. Okay, unless there's something special you want to do. So we now return. So we want to return the string value of the following, and we now specify what we want to return. So in this case, we want to return the string of the account name. So we say return account name. So in a format, we will format it. I will need itself to reference it. Self dot what? Account name. Should also return account number. Self dot account number, and then it should also return the balance, so account balance. So in this case, when we now run our code, we will not have this error. So you can see that it is now returning the value for us instead of the memory address we are having. Okay, so this is how the string method works. Okay, this is how the toString method works. And then because we have been able to create an object of the account class, we can call the method on it. So we can say account1 and call the dot deposit on it, and then the deposit, like I told you, takes what? A parameter amount. So in this case, we want to deposit 350,000 or 390,000. Okay, so 390,000. So when we run, okay, so it should be able to tell us the current balance. So you now say John deposited 390,000 naira, and your current balance is what? 840,000. Then we can also call the method withdraw on this. So we can say account1 dot what? Withdraw. It also take a parameter. How much you want to withdraw? We want to just withdraw 4,000 naira. Withdraw 4,000. Okay, something is not right here. Something is not right here. Let's check that method withdraw again. So if self dot account balance is greater than equal to amount. Okay, so we need to minus. So we can say self dot balance. You can say self dot balance dot account balance. So minus equal to what? It should minus the amount from the what? From the balance. So you can say the amount. Okay, all right. So the reason why I do this is because if you look at it here, if I deposited 390 and the current balance is 840,000 naira, then and John withdraw 4,000, the balance should not still be what? Should not still be 840. So something is wrong. So I've corrected that, and let's run it again and see. So do Python demo.py. Okay, demo.py. All right. So yes, so John withdrew 4,000 and the current balance is 836,000. Okay, so this is how it should be, and this is what we are getting. All right. Okay, so this is how to create a class with method, and then creating an object and calling those methods on the object. So you call a method on an object using the dot. Okay, using the dot. All right, let's move further. So we're going to create a bank class now. Let's create a bank class because an account cannot exist without a bank. Okay, so let's create a bank class. So what do? The same way we started. So we do class, then we call the bank. Okay, call the bank like this, then colon, then we now initialize. So every class you create, you must initialize it with a what? Constructor. So we're going to create our special method called constructor, and then we do init, and then inside there we're now going to pass in the information about our bank class. So every bank has a name, so we say bank underscore name. Okay, for bank underscore name, bank underscore name. Then the bank has address, so we say bank underscore address. So every bank has a name, every bank has address. What other information can we add to the bank? Let's just leave it at this. Our parameter by creating variable, so we say dot, so bank name, bank underscore name, which will be equal to bank name, then self dot bank address. Okay, bank address, which will be equal to what? Bank address. All right, so now that we've now initialized our bank class with a constructor, let us now create a method that add new customer anytime a new customer create a bank account. Okay, so how do we do that? We now have a method. Okay, so this method will now create a new customer, so we'll call it new underscore what? Customer. Okay, now it's now going to take parameter, and this parameter is the information we want from the customer. So the customer has a name, so we have self name. The customer has account number. Okay, customer has account number, so we call it DCCT underscore what? Underscore number. Then the customer also have, now we need a way to store the customers. Okay, we need a way to store the customers, and then for us to do that we will need a list. So we're going to create a list. So say the self dot customers, so call it customers, self dot customer, so equal to what? Is a list. Okay, so what we are saying is we want every customer that we create should be stored in a list. Okay, so that's why we are doing this. So, and now that we are now creating a method for creating what? New customer with their details. Okay, let's reference them. So no, we're not referencing in this moment. So let us now create a logic that creates a new customer anytime a new customer creates account. Okay, so we now see new customer. We now have a variable new customer detail, or new customer, let's call it new customer detail. Okay, now that we have a new customer detail, now we need to now specify, so it should be equal to, we need to now create an object of our account class. Okay, so that anytime a new account is created, we'll be able to collect these details that are here. Okay, we'll be able to collect the balance, the account name, and the rest of it. So let's create an object. So we now call the account here. Okay, call the account, and then like this. Then we can now pass in the details there. So we have a name, account number, address, and balance. Okay, so we are creating an object of what? The customer, object of the customer, and then we want these parameters. Okay, we want these parameters. Okay, so anytime a new account is created, we need a name, we need the account number, we need the address, and possibly, okay, let's stop at this place. So now that we now have a variable that holds the account object, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to append. Okay, so say self dot customer. We'll call the customer list. Okay, we'll call the customer list and append our new customer details. So say dot append. Then the append method takes a parameter. So now say pass a new customer detail. Okay, so anytime the new customer is created, it is added to the customer list. All right, then we should return new customer whenever a new customer is created. Okay, the method should return a new customer when a new customer is created. So it's a new customer. Okay. All right, so we have been able to create a method that adds a new customer to our database. All right, in this case our list. Okay, now let's now create an object of our bank class. Okay, so we now have a blueprint for our bank class. Let's now create an object of that. So create a bank object, go to bank. Okay, and then it takes parameters. So the bank name is what? First Bank. I love First Bank. Then the next one is what? The address. Oracle, Keja, Lagos. Keja, Lagos. All right. So now that we are done with that, we can now call, if it is the same thing that happened, if we want to return, if we want to get a string value of this, we will need to create a toString method. If not, if we print our bank, we are going to have memory address. Okay, we're going to have memory address because every detail here is stored in the computer memory. Okay, so you can see we are getting memory address. So if we need our details to be returned, we need to create a toString method. So how do we do that? We now do the same way we did before, def, and then done that, and then str, and then we can now return the string method of that. Say def format. Then we want to return, the first thing is what? The bank name, the bank address, and customer. So we should return bank name. So say self dot bank name self dot bank address, and I think that's just a major 3. Okay, so the last one is the customer, so you should return the customer. So not the customer. Okay, so say call it self dot what customer. All right, so whenever we create a new customer, it should be able to return to us. So you can see that we now have what with our list empty. All right, so if we now call the bank object, and then we now pass it, we now call the method create new customer now. So if we do bank, okay, and we call the method new customer now, let's create new customer method. Okay, and then inside the new customer, we provide the name of the customer. We say Joe Biden. Okay, and then we now create the account number. This is account number is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. All right, then the address is what? Main Street. Okay, let's call it Main Street. All right, so let's run and also see what we have. So we have created a new customer. So we are having memory address in our list. Okay, so we have created a new list, and now we are now having an error. Okay, so let's resolve that. For us to resolve that, we need to do something like this. Okay, go back to our toString method. Where's the toString method? Now we want to get the length of our string. So I just say length like this. We wrap it around our customer. Okay, so that it can return the length of whatever is there. So let's check again, and here we are. Okay, so it's returning one customer for us. So this is how to create a bank class and then creating an object of a bank. Okay, now the next one I want to discuss is what? Inheritance. What is inheritance? Inheritance allow a class, which is a subclass now, a shout class, to to inherit attributes and method from another class, in this case the superclass. So we are going to create a savings account that inherits from the account class, so that the savings account can inherit both the attributes and what method in our account class. Okay, also write a reusable code and what creating a relationship between classes. All right, so let's now go there. So when we come to our account class, we have an account class here. We're going to create a savings account. Okay, so our savings account should be something like this. We now say class, then savings account, savings underscore account. Okay, savings, because our savings account is going to inherit, our savings account is going to inherit our from account class, so we have a parenthesis, and inside this parenthesis we are going to pass in the account class. All right, okay, we're going to pass in our account class here, so like this. So inheritance have taken place. So what we are saying is this class savings account now have access to what everything in the account class. All right, so let's go. So we can now come here and do and initialize our savings account. So we can now say dev, okay, and create a constructor. So we need okay, so automatically it has inherited all the classes for us. So it's giving us the account name, account number, account balance. All right, and then calling the super, okay, the super class. When you are calling the super class, you need to call the super class parentheses and then add your constructor from what your super class. So this is your constructor from your super class, this is the constructor from the savings account class. All right, so this is how it works. Now that we have this, now we want to add a parameter here. We want to be able to calculate the interest, so I'll say interest here, or interest rate. Let me call it interest rate, so it can declare. Okay, so let's call it interest rate. So call it interest rate. Okay, then we'll now initialize it. We'll now say we'll now reference it, sorry, not initialize, self dot interest rate, interest underscore rate, which should be equal to what interest rate. Okay, so self dot interest rate should be equal to what interest rate. All right, then we have, now that we have been able to create a savings account and then initialize a class, let's create a method that calculates the interest. Okay, so we are going to do method calculate what interest. So say calculate underscore interest. So this method will calculate our interest and add it to our class. So anytime you are calculating an interest, what do? There's no parameter, so we just need this here. Okay, like I said, it's a convention. Itself is a convention. So now let's have a variable for interest, which should be equal to our balance multiplied by, so say self dot balance, account balance. So it's going to multiply it by what? Multiply it by the interest rate. Okay, so self dot what? Interest rate. When it's calculated, you will now deposit it inside our class. So because we have inherited from the account class, we can actually use the method deposit here. So we can call the deposit method. So we do self dot what? Self dot deposit. We call the deposit method and pass in the interest that we are calculating. All right, so what we are doing is we're calculating the interest by multiplying the account balance with the interest rate. So if the interest rate is 5, for example, and our account balance is 350, for example, we'll now multiply 350 times what? 5. All right, then we'll now deposit that interest into our account, because the deposit method will the deposit method in our account class will add everything to our balance. Okay, so it will add everything, every amount to our balance. All right, so this is how the method is going to work. Now that we now have a savings account, now we can now call create an object of our savings account class. So let's create an object of our savings account class. Okay, so here we're going to create an object of our savings account, so I'll call it savings. Okay, savings should be equal to savings account, and then the savings account takes the account name. So in this case, Bill Gates. Okay, let's call it Bill Gates. Then the account number is 123456789. Okay, so this is the account number. Then what's the balance? Let's say $750, $750. All right, then okay, $750. Then the next one is what? The interest rate. So we are calculating the interest by 5, and then let's print our savings. Let's print our savings. Okay, so say savings. Okay, now let's run it and see. Our savings is 700, and our savings is 750 Bill Gates with the account number, and this is what we are getting. Now you may be wondering, why is he able to return the string method for us? Because we are inheriting from the account class, we don't need to create a new toString method. So it's still making use of what? This toString method here. So because we are inheriting everything. It's just like you and your father. Your father gave birth to you, so you inherit everything from him. His nose, the way he talks, his voice, every single thing about him. Okay, so that is that. Now we can now call the method calculate interest. We can now call the method calculate interest on our savings. So we can say savings dot what? Calculate interest. Okay, we call the method calculate interest, which did not, it doesn't take any parameter. So when we do this, let's run it and see what our interest will be. We deposited 750. So if you multiply that by 5, okay, if you multiply 750 times 5, you will have 3,750. So that's why it's telling you us that you get deposited 3,750. So our current balance now is 4,500. Okay, so this is how the savings account class works, okay, with the calculate interest method. Now, having understand inheritance, let's talk about encapsulation. What do you mean by encapsulation? Encapsulation simply means hiding of information. Okay, so in a situation where we want only some certain aspect of our class to be seen by just that class or the child class, we will have to implement what we call encapsulation. So encapsulation is a practice of hiding information, which is attributes and method, okay, that operate on our class. So for example, there is no way anybody should not have access to your account number. Okay, anybody should not have access to your account balance. Okay, it should be you and you alone. So we want to protect these two things. Okay, and that is when access modifiers comes in. So when we talk about encapsulation, we are going to be mentioning access modifiers and getters and setters. So access modifiers allow us to specify which is accessible by who and how that is accessible. Okay, so for example, we have 3 access modifier. We have the public access modifier. The public access modifier can be accessed from anywhere in the class. So take for example this all of what you are seeing here is what we call public access modifier. Why? Because it can be accessed from anywhere in the class. So we are going to modify this account class so that the account number and the balance become private and protected. Now the second one after the public we are going to discuss is the public. We're going to discuss private access modifier. So the private access modifier is only accessed within the class. Okay, so in this case our balance should be only the access within this class, and what do we do is denoted by double underscore like this. Okay, this can only be accessed within this class. So even the child class cannot have access to the child class, do not have access to our our account balance. All right, then the protected access modifier are accessed within the class and subclass. So we want the account number to be only accessed by the by the child class. In this case, our savings account can have access to our to our account number, but cannot have access to to the account balance. And protected is denoted by a single underscore. Okay, so the first one is denoted by double underscore, which is for private. The second is is denoted by a single underscore, which is for protected. Now let's move further. So we're going to modify this our account class so that we implement the encapsulation in this class, where we hide details of this class. So only the ones that are necessary are exposed, while the rest are not exposed. We will not do this here. We'll take it inside like this. So we'll do single underscore, which is for protected, and then double underscore for for private. All right, so this is it. Now that we have done this, we also need to modify. We also need to, so because we have done this, there is no way you cannot just end the attempt to get this will be throwing an error. Okay, and because it's going to throw an error, we need to modify whatever we have here. Okay, we need to modify whatever we are having here. So I'm going to change it. Okay, so let's start with the getters and setters. So for you to now have access, because it's now protected and private, we need getters and setters. The getters will get the update of our balance, while the setters will set the balance. Let's start with it. So let's set before we get. So do dev set underscore number, set account number, account underscore number. Then so the setter will take a parameter, because you need to get a new update that is coming in. So we'll say new account number, new account underscore number. Okay, the parameter for the new incoming balance. So we need to assign it to our balance. So we now do self dot account number. Okay, self dot account number, it should be equal to the new account number. Okay, so but now that we'll be able to get the new update with this parameter. So anytime we are setting, we'll provide a new room for the new account number. So we have set, let's get. So we need a get account number for this. Okay, account, or then just aggregate underscore num. Okay, then follow the convention and add self, and then it should return it should return the account number for us. Okay, return account number. Now let us also set for the balance. Okay, so the set balance will also update the balance. So something like this. So do dev set underscore balance, set underscore balance, which takes a parameter with a new balance. So say self, and then comma new balance. Okay, after new balance, we close it, a colon. Now we want to set it now, so we say self dot balance. Okay, account balance, which should be equal to new balance. All right, so anytime we call this method, it's going to get access to this and return it for us. Okay, so we now have getters and setters for. Okay, so we are now going to set the getter. We're now going to create the getter method for the balance. So dev get balance. So it doesn't take parameter again. It's going to return the updated balance. So it will be self dot balance. All right, so this is how the getter and setter works in Python. Okay, so you need to create a getter and setter for your private and protected attributes. So now we need to modify our deposit and withdrawal method. So our deposit method here, so the account balance here is already need to update it. So can do underscore here. So account balance. Okay, account balance. All right, so now that we have updated the deposit method, let's also update the withdrawal method. You will now be able to see the new update and give us that. All right, so now change this also. Our balance is now a private, meaning it can only be gotten within that class. Okay, all right. So an outside class, even a shout class, cannot have access to a private modified attribute. All right. So in our account, for example, so we can use the dot get. So we can say account one. So we can call the dot get method, say dot get account number. Okay, it doesn't take any parameter. Let's set the account number. Let's set a new account number. So I'll do a60, then dot set. Okay, dot set account number, and then here I'm going to provide a new account number. So I'll do it 11223345456677. Okay, and then let me wrap it in a string like this. Okay, so and let's run again. So I'm setting a new account number and I'm getting that an account number I'm setting using the dot set and the dot get method. So when I run this, I should be able to see something like this. Okay, so you can see the new updated account number here. All right, so this is how this works in Python. Now we can also use the dot set for the balance. So where I say something like this, dot set balance. So I'm going to create a new amount. So what's the new balance? Okay, so the new balance is 450. Okay, $450. Then I can now get the new balance and like this, account dot what get balance. So I'll say get balance. All right, so and it doesn't take parameter. So when I run again, we should be able to see update. Okay, so you can see that it's giving us John has a new account with this amount. All right, so this is how the access modifier works in Python, where you are using the dot set to set a new update and you are using the dot get to get the new update. Okay, and this is possible because you have made attributes, you have made account attribute private. Okay, and then the balance protected. Okay, so by default any attribute is in public by default. So this name here is public. Okay, while the account number here is protected, while the balance is what is private. So, and I said that the private can only be accessed within that class alone. So even a shout class cannot have access to what? To the private attribute. Then while the protected can be accessed from both the class and the shout class. Having understand that, the last one I will explain is what? Polymorphism. So think of a polymorphism like this, where Tunde is a worker, is a banker. Okay, so Tunde at home, Tunde is a father. In the job, at his office, Tunde is a colleague, and then at the party, Tunde is a rock star. So it is the same Tunde but different things everywhere. The same method of doing different things. Polymorphism refers to the ability of different objects to respond to the same message or method or in different ways. So how do we achieve that? So we are going to modify our savings account class. Okay, specifically our savings account class, so that the deposit method will modify it. Okay, we have a deposit method in our savings account. So go down to our savings account. Okay, so we don't have a deposit method here. So we are going to create. Okay, we are going to create a deposit method. So this deposit method will now be able to act as what? Polymorphism. So how do we do that? So we can do def. So I can say def. Okay, deposit money. Or let me just call it deposit. I already have a deposit at the fund, but then let's see what happens. So I'll just call it deposit underscore money. Deposit underscore money, and then in here I can now pass in the amount. Always remember that when you are depositing money, you have to specify the amount you are depositing. So I'll say amount. Okay, and then I'll calculate the interest. So I will have a variable. The first thing is to calculate the interest. So I will have a variable that is going to multiply. So multiply the amount, multiply the amount by the interest rate by over 100. So we'll say times. Okay, then in here we now say self.interest, then divide by 100, divide by 100. All right, so now that we have done this, we see total amount, total underscore amount, okay, which is equal to amount plus interest. Okay, so this is what we are doing. All right, so we have a variable that is taking the interest and calculating it. Okay, then we are adding the total amount plus the interest. We are adding the amount that the user is depositing plus the interest that we have already calculated. Then now for the total, we need to add the total to our balance. So how do we achieve that? So come here and then we'll do something like this. So I'll do self.balance. Okay, self.balance. Remember our balance here, account balance. Then we say plus equal to what? Plus equal to total amount. Okay, so the total amount calculated with our interest divided by 100 will now be added to our balance. And then once that is done, we want to print the user the new updated details. So the name, the amount. Okay, so we can say print. Then we now have the string format, and then we can now do something like this here, or like this. We can now do self. Okay, self dot what? Account name. Okay, so the name of the person depositing, then deposited. Okay, deposited. Then we now specify the amount that the person deposited. So remember amount, so it's a local variable. Then the current balance, so can I say current balance, okay, and then we specify self dot what? Balance. All right, so with this we can now create an object of our, let's go and modify the object of our account class. Okay, now look at our account class now. So let's run it and see. We still have the same thing. Okay, now what we need to do is we'll now call the method, okay, the deposit method. So remember that this deposit method is in what? Savings account. So we can now call this deposit method on the account object. So we can come here and do account one dot deposit. Okay, deposit, is it deposit? We call it or deposit money. All right, deposit money. So let's call it deposit money. Okay, and then here we can now pass in the amount we want to deposit. So let's say 780,000, and then let's run it and see what we have. Okay, so account object has no attribute deposit money. Okay, so as you can see, we are getting an attribute error. It's saying that account object has no attribute deposit money. So whenever you are implementing polymorphism, you must make sure that your method name must be the same. All right, so the method name must be the same but must not act the same. So here in the account class we are having a method deposit, so let's change it to deposit money. Okay, let's change it to deposit money, and then we'll now come to our account object and also modify it. Okay, so instead of deposit here, we'll now say deposit money. Okay, deposit underscore money here, and then when we now run it, let's test our code, and then the error has gone. Okay, so we can also call, so from here you can understand that even though this deposit money method is not created in the account class, but because it's a polymorphism, it can act anywhere. Okay, so it's the same deposit money but behaving differently everywhere. Okay, so if let's comment this out, and let's comment all of this that we've done there and just get only the balance. Okay, so after calling the deposit money method, let's just get the balance. Okay, let's get the balance. So here I'll cut, and then I'll cut, and then I'll run it. Okay, So you can see that this is what it's telling me. So this is a current balance that is returning to us. All right. So this is how the polymorphism work, where you are calling it a method that can be called on any other class or object. Okay. So now let's go to our savings account. So if we come to our savings account, okay, and let's do something. So let's call the method deposit money. So we say savings and we call the deposit money, and then we specify the amount. So say 340, okay, 345,000. Okay, that's 345,000. Thank you so much. This is, in this video I've been able to explain OOP in Python by showing you how to create a class, how to create a constructor, and your attribute using self to reference to your attribute. I've also explained encapsulation, where we are trying to hide the detail of our class, okay, of our attribute with and exposing only the necessary one. In this case, we're only exposing the name, while the rest become private and protected. Okay, so this is how encapsulation works in Python. I've also been able to explain toString method, how to create a toString method so that you will not be having a memory error whenever you run your code. Then I've also explained polymorphism, where you have a method that behave different, one method that behave differently in every class. So if you have any question or you like this video, kindly drop your question in the comment section. I will be able to attend to it and answer you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and turn on the notification bell and hear me when I go out live next. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.